while back, in my video about voids in games, I mentioned that seeing a game's world descend into floating platforms now immediately sets my eyes to rolling. And there are other recurring tropes that prompt the same response. For example, whenever I'm happily strolling through the starting forest of a new game and notice a contextual button prompt inviting me to gather leaves and bits of twig, I immediately go, oh god, there's a fucking crafting mechanic. So let's interrogate that reaction. Because crafting isn't like voids, it's practically one of the staples of modern game design. By crafting, I mean the act of letting the player pick up random materials that have no real use except that they can be combined into something that is useful, although I'm sure if you're watching this you need no introduction. It's possibly a spiritual descendant of the point-and-click adventure inventory puzzle tradition where you combine thing with hat to make thing wearing hat. Why has crafting become such an indelible part of mainstream gaming, when functionally it serves precisely the same role as buying stuff from a shop? Combine gold with merchant's hand to make nicer sword, and all that. Well, I do think there is something inherently pleasing about taking two things and putting them together to make a third thing. Trust me on this, I'm a parent. And let me tell you, the satisfaction in having kids extends a long way beyond just getting to nut in someone. There's a special investment one acquires in the things we create ourselves. My colleagues at Second Wind can attest how giddily excited I was in a meeting on one occasion to let them know that my youngest had for the first time gone poopies in the potty. Minecraft successfully harnessed the instinct of gamers of all ages, not just to kill and destroy, but to create and come away feeling like we did something constructive, even if in the long run building a make-believe skull fortress isn't any more lasting an achievement than killing all the make-believe monsters in Doom. But crafting has gone down a few rabbit holes since then, and somewhere along the line something went wrong. Influential though Minecraft was and is, it always surprises me that no one's really tried to imitate or iterate upon its central crafting mechanic, the thing where you drop materials in specific patterns on a 3x3 grid and try to draw the tool you want in massively oversized pixel art. So you put down 2 bits of wood as a handle and 3 bits of rock in a curve around the end, and ta-da! You make a pickaxe. I know the word genius gets bandied around a little too easily these days, but this is such a great crafting mechanic. Firstly, it's intuitive, easy to remember the recipes, 2 sticks with a rock on the end, sure, that'd make a shovel, no further questions. Secondly, it makes iterating upon recipes much more intuitive. We've established 2 sticks and rock makes stone shovel, logically 2 sticks and metal ingot makes metal shovel, bing bong so simple. Thirdly, it offers a canvas on which you can experiment and discover new recipes by following a certain kind of logic. I didn't know how to make a door, so I just put down a vertical rectangle of wood and hey, that worked. Now I'm wondering how the fuck one would craft a wardrobe with this system, but how many of those do you need? Sure, it's such an original and idiosyncratic system you'd be instantly called out as a Minecraft knockoff for using it, but Fortnite knocked off PUBG for its Battle Royale mode, and that worked out perfectly well. No one complains as long as you make something better with it. The creative industries are practically built on that principle. But no, in virtually every other game with a crafting system, all you need is to have the ingredients, and your magic workbench does all the work for you. Insert 2 wood, 2 stone, and a big leaf, and out pops an assault rifle. That's not intuitive. That doesn't reward creativity. That's the hasty, unsatisfying wank to Minecraft's 6-month whirlwind love affair. That's like sniffing glue to Minecraft's smoking expensive custom-engineered Dutch weed. But of course the appeal of sniffing glue is that glue is a lot easier to source than high-grade marijuana. And it turns out the boring shopping list method of crafting can still induce the high one gets from creating something. Not a very powerful high, but if they keep making you do it, then I guess it adds up to something halfway satisfying. But when you break it down from a design perspective, all this is taking us back to just paying for things in a store, just with 500 different types of currency. What was that about 500 types of currency? I wasn't talking to you, live service games. What a brilliant idea! We're going to base our entire equipment system around forcing you to craft new gear that's functionally identical to your old gear, but with higher numbers, constructed from bits of random garbage, using recipes you can't intuit or discover through experimentation. Then we'll make the player grind up tedious repetitive combat to acquire the bits of random garbage in question, because if they don't do it, their numbers won't go up and the combat will be even more grindy and tedious than it would have been otherwise, and then we'll start charging money for the rarer bits of random garbage as well. Tee-hee ha ha ha. Oh, you asshole live service games. You took a nice thing like crafting and refined out all the wholesome parts, turned it into just another way to sucker in the credulous. You saw all the kids having fun and indulging their creativity with their lovely Minecraft Legos, took notes, then turned around and got all the kids hooked on smack instead. That's why I hate the way crafting manifests in so many modern games now, because I'm keenly aware that it's there more to manipulate my emotions than to create a truly fulfilling experience. The worst thing is when improving a piece of gear requires a specific crafting material that only occurs in a specific part of the game. So if you move on to the next part without improving it, you're stuck with a piece of unupgradable tat until you go back to the old area and grind up whatever it was you needed. This is the precise opposite of giving the player a sense of forward progress. This is why I appreciated the crafting system in Eternal Strands, where instead of grinding to compile lists of highly specific ingredients, you can just use anything from that ingredient's classification. So a recipe will call for a kind of leather and a kind of metal, but any will do. Not the only game to do this. Dead Rising 3 did it. Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii does it with the cooking recipes. But I like how the items you create get different stats based on what you used. Add some of that spirit of experimentation back. It's like cooking. It's like when I'm making banana bread, but I don't have quite the amount of overripe banana the recipe calls for, so I'll make up the difference with some apple sauce. It's all squashed up fruit. The rest of the batter won't care that much. The point is, don't give up, designers of crafting systems. I don't think you're done innovating yet. Here's a couple of free ideas. You know how Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts had that whole system for designing custom vehicles by clipping components together on a 3D grid system? I always thought that could also work for melee weapons. A logical extension of the Minecraft 3x3 grid system. Build your own sword out of metal and wooden cubes. Calculate the speed of animation and damage based on its size, shape, and weight of materials. I don't think it'd be that hard. Finally, we could realize our dream of going into battle dual-wielding our Minecraft golden penises. Second idea, do something like what Cryptmaster does with its potion brewing system and use the letters in the names of the ingredients. So if you had some rotten wolf's blood, you could take the letters S, W, O, R, and D and craft it into a sword. But then, the more different synonyms for sword you can create from the letters, the more powerful a sword you can make. So if you combine rotten wolf's blood with a Thomas Kincaid painting, you can make sword, knife, blade, and katana for a quadruple powered bladed weapon. Then from the leftover letters you can create toilet pond, which would add on some kind of poison-based elemental damage, I assume. There I go again, coming up with combat systems that only I would enjoy or be good at. I like anagrams, okay. Why not drop a comment pitching your own ideas for alternative crafting systems if you've got any? And remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and if you want to support more videos like this, join the Patreon. Or as we anagram fans prefer to say, open the janitor.
This video is brought to you by GameMaker. And if you've ever wanted to get into game development, GameMaker does this really crazy thing where it's free. Just start making and only pay when you want to release your game to the world commercially.
It's fast, it's user-friendly, and there's easy-to-follow tutorials, plus a dedicated community to help answer even my questions. How make man jump? GameMaker is a 2D game engine that's helped bring some of yours and my favorite recent experiences to life, like UFO 50, Chicory, Anton Blast, and of course, Yahtzee's own Starstruck Vagabond.
Ooh, are we talking about Game Maker? I love that program, it's so easy to use. As well as Starstruck Vagabond, I also used it to make all 12 projects in my 12 games in 12 months Dev Diary challenge. And I couldn't believe how much sex I got out of that. None. I got none at all. Which I couldn't believe.
So what are you waiting for? Head on over to the GameMaker link in the description and start cracking away today, because we want to play your game.
Yeah, looking through this list, I'm seeing one of you made Armpit Fart Tycoon, and I've got several questions for you.